Hello again, YouTube. Well, the time has come to answer the question. Garmin Fenix 3 versus the Garmin Fenix 5 with heart rate on the wrist. And more importantly, was it worth the upgrade? Hello again, YouTube. Yes, it's finally time to do the comparison between the Garmin Fenix 3 and the Garmin Fenix 5 with heart rate on the wrist. Now, I bought the Fenix 5 as an upgrade, God, it must have been a couple of months ago now. God, probably even more than that. And really, at the time, you know, I looked at the 2 and I looked at the 3 and I thought, there's not a lot of difference between them. Really, the only difference between them was going to be heart rate on the wrist on the Garmin Fenix 5. And somehow I convinced myself I needed that. God only knows why. Anyway, I thought it was about time I did the update for you. As you can see, I've actually come out of the house. I'm not sitting in my little office upstairs in the house. This is probably the first time I've been out of the house in days. We all know the score. So I thought I'd come into the bike shed to do this review for you. Because if nothing else, I just like being surrounded by my bikes. Now I'm going to do this review in kind of 3 parts. I'm going to look at accuracy, battery life, and features. Because that seems to make sense. And because I've already built the scene dividers. So here we go, let's get into it. In terms of accuracy, I've got to say that I don't see a benefit with the Fenix 5. The Fenix 5 seems to be slower than the 3 to locate GPS. The 3, if I'm going out for a run, the 3 will often have GPS before I've even left the house. The 5 will still be searching for it 30 seconds after I've got outside my front door. So there's that. And also when I look at the tracks between the 2 of them, the GPS track I get from the 5 just seem to be a little bit more, for lack of a better way of putting it, wavy than from the 3. In terms of run metrics, they're pretty much the same, but they would be because it's getting that data from the heart rate belt. I've got like the Garmin Run belt. In terms of swim metrics, depressingly the same between the 2 of them. But there's that heart rate on the wrist. Now, standing here, right here, if I just check it, you know, 74 beats per minute, seems about right. Sitting around, it seems about right. You know, the heart rate it gets when it's tracking sleep seems about right. But when you're on the bike, when you're out for a run, or even if you're out for a spirited walk, the heart rate data seems at best random, to be honest with you. In fact, if I compare the heart rate data on this with the heart rate data on my my Edge 1000 when I'm on Zwift, for example. Now that Edge 1000's getting its heart rate data from a good old-fashioned belt. This will often be half of that. So I would say that in terms of, you know, using this as a workout, maybe as a backup, but I wouldn't rely on that heart rate data if you're using this to track your workouts. Now when you think about it, that was kind of its unique selling point for me. So I've got to say, in terms of accuracy, Fenix 3 wins. So, battery life. I mean, that's quite important for a sports tracking watch, isn't it? Never really had any complaints with the Garmin Fenix 3. That thing saw me through an Ironman, and yeah, it made it across the line with me, so kudos for that. I've got to say that I do find that the battery life on the Fenix 5 is worse than the 3 in my experience. Now, I suppose there's a couple of reasons for that. It's got a bunch of LEDs on the back that it's using to track heart rate, so they've got to use more battery, and physically it's a smaller case, so you know, logically I suppose there's a smaller battery in there with a smaller capacity, so I suppose those are all things that stack up against it. But it's not just the battery life. I even prefer charging the Fenix 3. The Fenix 3 comes with a nice little cradle you clip it into and you put it on the desk, and I can still see the watch face whilst it's charging. The Fenix 5 has got this odd little not USB, not anything I've seen before, clip that goes in the back and then it has to lay on its side or on its face whilst it's charging. And it just seems like an afterthought. So in terms of battery life, it's a win for the Garmin Fenix 3. Yeah, features. That's the new one, right? So it must be better. I don't think it is, to be honest with you. It all depends what you want from it. And what I wanted, okay, what I wanted from it was heart rate on the wrist. And I'm getting heart rate on the wrist that's usable when I'm not doing much, to be honest with you. So there's that. In terms of what it'll track, yeah, this will track more things. I mean, if you want to snowboard or jump out of a plane, there's your watch, okay? Compare between the two of them. But if you are just looking at the standard features that we all use every day, swim, bike, run, maybe a walk, maybe a hike, those sorts of things, there's nothing between them. And in fact, there's a feature missing from the Garmin Fenix 5, which I had on the 3, or still have on the 3, which I really liked. The Garmin Fenix 3 has a find your phone feature. So that's really, really useful. Do you know where I'd use that a lot? Would be at the gym, where is my phone in my gym bag? Is it in my pocket? You know, somewhere like that. You hit find the phone feature on this, it plays a tone through the phone, it gives you a little indication of where it is. I've even used it to track the phone down in the house because it'll give you like a little radar thing that homes in on the phone. It's fantastic, but it's just not on the Fenix 5 and I can't seem to see how to add it in. So for me, that's a step backwards. It's a win for the Garmin Fenix 3. So there you have it. Right, okay, keep some perspective on this. This is purely a review based on, should I update my Garmin Fenix 3 for a Garmin Fenix 5? And it's purely based on the difference between that not having heart rate on the wrist and that claiming to have heart rate on the wrist. So keep that in perspective. In terms of, you know, what they're like as a watch, but they're Garmin Fenix, they're pretty solid. You know, they're the best sports tracking watches you can get, in my opinion, you know. And arguably, there's probably some stuff that this does that doesn't, that I haven't come across, that make it worth the money. But I'd say, if you were kind of hovering over the buy button on Wiggle or Amazon or something like that, and you'd had that same chat in your head that I did, that you know, I need something with heart rate on the wrist. Shall I go for a Garmin Fenix 5? Nah, I'd hold out. What I'd do is I'd probably go for, you know, like the Forerunner, is it 945 or something like that? I'd go for one of the later versions, to be honest with you. And, you know, therein is kind of where I made the mistake. There's not enough time in terms of evolution between the two of them for this to be the wow moment, you know, that I was hoping for. So, just my personal opinion there. 350 quid. 350 quid I wished I'd never spent, to be honest with you. Am I going to keep the Fenix 5? Yeah, probably am, to be honest with you. You know, it's a really solid watch. But, you know, every time, and I still use the Fenix 3, I always kind of keep my previous model Fenix, or whatever tracking watch it was, as a backup, just in case a battery's gone flat or something like that. And every time I use the Fenix 3, it just feels like an old friend. So there you go. Anyway, thanks for watching this one. Sorry about the odd format. Hope you don't mind this too much. I think there's going to be some more odd videos coming out over the next few months as we all try to stave off insanity and boredom. But thanks for bearing with me. If you like this, please click the like button. If you like it enough, please click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you again, YouTube, and I will see you in the next one.